Ladies, have you ever hugged a man and felt like it just didn't land? Like it was nice, polite, maybe even warm, but forgettable. Today I want to talk to you about something deceptively simple, yet incredibly powerful. How to hug a man in a way he'll never forget. When it comes to creating a hug that truly impacts a man on a deeper level, the most important starting point is presence over performance. In a world where we're constantly distracted by phones, by social media, by our own overthinking, we often forget what it means to truly be present with someone. And that shows up in our physical interactions. A hug at its core is an exchange of energy. If you're not fully there, if your mind is racing, if you're focused on how you look, what he's thinking, or whether you're doing it right, he'll feel that. He may not consciously identify it, but he will sense something is missing. And that something is your presence. Presence means letting go of the outcome. It means that you're not hugging to get a specific reaction or response, but to share a genuine moment of connection. And when you approach a hug with performance in mind, trying to impress him, make him miss you, or seduce him, you're already disconnected from the moment. And ironically, that's exactly what makes the hug forgettable. But when your intention is simply to be there with him, to let the hug say what words can't, it becomes something far more memorable. Think about it like this. Have you ever had a conversation with someone who was clearly listening just to respond versus someone who was truly listening to understand? The difference is night and day. One feels transactional, the other feels soulful. The same principle applies to physical touch. You could hug someone with perfect posture, the right amount of pressure, and all the right techniques, but if your mind and heart aren't in it, if you're not emotionally present, it will feel hollow. On the other hand, even a simple, imperfect hug, when delivered with full presence, can leave a man feeling grounded, safe, and truly connected. Presence also allows you to respond in real time. When you're present, you're attuned to his body language, his breathing, the subtle signals he gives off. You can feel when he relaxes into the hug. You notice if he hesitates or leans in more. This sensitivity gives you the ability to adjust, to sync up with him, which deepens the connection even further. And that responsiveness is something we all crave on a primal level, to feel like someone is really with us, not just physically, but emotionally too. To cultivate presence, slow everything down, take a breath before the hug, make eye contact, smile, not a forced smile, but one that says, I'm here and I see you. Then step into the embrace with nothing to prove. Let your body communicate what words can't. I'm not distracted, I'm not performing, I'm just here with you. Most people are so starved of that kind of attention that when they experience it, even for a moment, it becomes unforgettable. Confidence communicates safety. It's not just about appearing strong or self-assured. It's about creating an environment where someone else can let their guard down. When you hug a man with real confidence, it tells him without words, you're safe here. You don't have to be perfect. You can breathe. That kind of message is rare, especially for men who are often taught to suppress vulnerability or carry emotional burdens alone. When your embrace carries the weight of quiet confidence, it becomes an anchor, a moment of stillness in a world that's constantly demanding something from him. A confident hug isn't stiff or overly aggressive. It doesn't try to dominate. True confidence is calm, grounded, and steady. It's a kind of internal alignment where you're not second-guessing yourself. You're not wondering, is this okay? Am I doing too much? What does he think? You're not analyzing the moment, you're embodying it. That kind of presence creates a ripple effect. When you're steady, he feels it. When you're relaxed, he relaxes. When you're sure of yourself, he feels more sure of himself in your presence. This doesn't mean you need to be extroverted or bold. Confidence isn't about being loud or flashy. It's about being secure. It's that quiet knowing that you are enough and that what you're offering is genuine. When you hug from that place, it doesn't feel needy. It doesn't feel like you're seeking validation or trying to extract something from him. It feels like a gift. And that energy is incredibly attractive, not just romantically, but emotionally and spiritually too. Confidence also means being okay with stillness. So many people rush through a hug or make it performative because they're uncomfortable with intimacy. They pull away too fast or joke to break the tension. But when you can hold that space with ease, when you can stay in that physical closeness without feeling the need to escape or dilute the moment, it tells him something profound. You're not afraid of closeness. You're not afraid of him. And that makes him feel safe in a way that very few things can. Your body language plays a big role here. Shoulders back, chest open, arms wrapping with purpose, not hesitation. A confident embrace has weight to it. Not physical pressure, but emotional presence. It says, I'm here, and I trust myself enough to let you feel that. Even your breathing matters. A slow, steady breath during a hug sends a signal to his nervous system, everything is okay. You're not in a rush. You're not pretending. You're just here, and you're comfortable being close. The truth is, confidence doesn't just communicate safety, it creates it. When a man feels your steadiness, it allows him to soften, to lean in, to let go. And that kind of connection doesn't happen every day. It's rare, it's intimate, it's unforgettable. Use touch to mirror emotion, not manipulate it. Physical touch is one of the most powerful ways we communicate, but its impact depends entirely on the energy behind it. When you hug a man, what he feels isn't just your arms, it's your intention. If you're touching him to get something from him, whether it's attention, reassurance, or control, that intention will come through. It might be subtle, but we're all wired to detect when something feels off. When someone's actions don't quite match the emotional tone of the moment. A truly unforgettable hug isn't calculated. It's aligned with what's real between you in that moment. Mirroring emotion means tuning into what he's feeling. Not assuming it, not projecting your own needs onto him, but really sensing where he's at. Is he stressed, quiet, relaxed, vulnerable? Your hug should reflect that emotional state, not try to override it. If he's quiet and introspective, a slow, still, grounding hug meets him where he is. If he's playful and warm, then your energy can match that with a more open, affectionate touch. It's about emotional harmony, not strategy. That's what creates the feeling of being understood without a single word spoken. Most people don't know how to hold space with their bodies. They try to shift the mood, fix the moment, or project an emotion they think they should be giving. But connection doesn't live in control, it lives in attunement. And to attune to someone else, you have to first quiet the noise inside yourself. You have to let go of the outcome, drop into the moment, and feel instead of think. That's what allows you to mirror emotion authentically. It's less about technique, more about emotional intelligence. Your ability to feel someone else's energy and respond with presence, not pressure. When you do this well, the hug becomes a form of emotional fluency. It says, I'm with you in this moment, however you are. That kind of understanding is rare, especially for men who are often conditioned to mask their emotions. When your touch doesn't demand anything from him, when it simply holds space for him to be, it creates a level of trust that can't be faked. He remembers that feeling because it's not common. Most people touch to get. When you touch to meet, it becomes unforgettable. Mirroring emotion also requires you to be in tune with your own emotional state. If you're anxious, rushed, or disconnected, you won't be able to read the moment accurately. Self-awareness is key. Before you reach out for that hug, check in with yourself. What are you feeling? What are you trying to give? What are you hoping to receive? The more honest you are with yourself, the more authentic your energy will be, and the more naturally it will sync with his. Touch isn't just physical, it's emotional language. And like any language, its meaning depends on the context and tone. When you use it with intention, with presence, and with emotional alignment, it becomes something much deeper than a hug. It becomes a moment of truth, hold, with intention, not duration. A memorable hug isn't about how long it lasts, it's about what it carries. Many people think a longer hug is automatically more meaningful, but that's not true. What makes a hug unforgettable is the clarity of intention behind it. Are you hugging to connect, to comfort, to ground, to express affection? Or are you holding on because you're afraid to let go? Intention shapes the energy of the embrace. It defines the quality of the moment far more than the number of seconds it lasts. When you hug a man with clear intention, it becomes an experience rather than a gesture. He can feel the reason you're hugging him, and if that reason is genuine, the hug lands in a way that feels personal and deeply real. Maybe you're wrapping your arms around him simply to say, "I'm here with you." Or maybe it's a hug that says, "I see how hard life has been lately, and you don't have to carry it all right now." That emotional message, one unspoken and sincere, has power. It's what makes the embrace linger in his memory long after it's ended. People can sense when a hug is given with half presence or unclear intent. If you're distracted, unsure of yourself, or holding on just because you think that's what you're supposed to do, it doesn't create an emotional impact. It feels routine, expected, forgettable. On the other hand, when your hug is charged with clarity and emotional presence, even a few seconds can feel like time slowed down. It's not about duration, it's about depth. Holding with intention also means knowing when to let go. A confident, connected hug knows when it's done. Not too early, not too late. There's a natural rhythm, and being tuned into that rhythm shows deep emotional awareness. Letting go at the right moment tells him, "I respect your space and I trust that this moment landed." It doesn't cling. It doesn't linger out of fear. It arrives, it connects, and it releases. That kind of clarity leaves an impression because it respects the boundary while still delivering depth. Another key part of holding with intention is physical stillness. You don't need to overdo the movement, the rocking, or the rubbing. In fact, trying to do more often dilutes the emotional signal. Stillness creates gravity. A simple, steady embrace, rooted in your breath and your emotional presence, can say everything that needs to be said. It becomes a sanctuary, not just a gesture. He feels your stillness, and often it helps him find his own. When your body communicates exactly what your heart intends, it creates a powerful congruence. That alignment is rare. Most people are used to emotional noise, mixed signals, empty gestures, surface-level affection. When your hug is quiet but intentional, simple but charged with meaning, it becomes something he can't easily explain but won't easily forget. Let silence speak louder than words. In a world that constantly demands noise through conversation, notifications, expectations, silence has become one of the most powerful, underused tools of emotional connection. When you hug a man, the silence between you can either be awkward or sacred. The difference lies in how comfortable you are within it. Most people rush to fill silence because they're afraid of what it might reveal. But in a truly meaningful hug, silence becomes the canvas where unspoken truths are felt. Silence in a hug allows you both to drop into presence. Without words, you're not performing. You're not trying to impress, explain, or entertain. You're just being. And when you're in that space of stillness, something deep inside the other person responds. A man, especially one who's used to carrying emotional armor, feels something rare. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to speak, fix, or prove. In your silent embrace, he gets permission to just exist. And that experience can be more healing than any perfectly chosen phrase. There is a kind of peace that only comes when two people are silent together without tension. It shows trust. It shows emotional maturity. It shows that you are confident enough in the moment to not need to fill it. And that confidence is disarming. He may not understand why it feels so good to just be still with you, but he will feel it. because silence in a hug magnifies what's real. It amplifies what's already present beneath the surface. It also gives room for emotional release. When there are no words, no expectations, no pressure to respond or perform, the body often lets go. A sigh, a deeper breath, the subtle way his shoulders soften. These are signs that the silence is doing its work. You've created a space where he can release without being asked to explain. That kind of silence is intimate, not empty. It holds everything you're both feeling without having to name it. Most people are uncomfortable with this level of stillness. They move too quickly, talk too much, or use humor to mask the depth of the moment. But when you resist that urge, when you allow the silence to stretch, you send a message. I'm not afraid of this depth. I'm not rushing away from it. That's when something shifts. The hug moves from being physical to emotional, from something ordinary to something transformative. And the truth is, in that kind of silence, you often say the most. Without speaking, you're saying, you don't have to be anything but who you are. You're saying, this space is for you. You're saying, I see you. And sometimes that message, delivered without words, lands deeper than any carefully crafted sentence ever could. The memory of that kind of silence, wrapped in an embrace, stays with a man because it touched something that words never reached. Leave him feeling seen, not just held. A truly unforgettable hug isn't just about touch, it's about recognition. It's the feeling someone walks away with, not just the feeling they had while your arms were around them. When you hug a man in a way that leaves him feeling seen, you're doing something far more intimate than physical closeness. You're showing him that you notice who he is beneath the surface, that you're attuned to his emotions, his energy, and the things he may not have the words to express. Many men go through life feeling invisible in certain emotional ways. They may be admired, respected, even loved, but often not seen. Their strengths are noticed, their roles appreciated, but their deeper needs, fears, and longings can go unacknowledged. So when you hug a man in a way that taps into that unspoken part of him, it breaks through layers that few people ever reach. It becomes a rare moment of being understood without having to explain anything. This kind of hug requires more than arms. It requires awareness. It means you're not hugging out of habit or politeness or routine. You're present. You're observing what's going on beneath his surface. Maybe he's carrying something heavy emotionally. Maybe he's had a day where he felt alone in the world. Maybe he's feeling proud, excited, or quietly hopeful. Whatever the emotion, when you tune into it and hug him in a way that honors that feeling, it creates an imprint, the moment where he feels, even subconsciously, she gets me. Being seen through a hug also means you're not imposing your energy on him. You're not trying to cheer him up or fix whatever he's feeling. You're simply meeting him where he is, offering a space of calm, of warmth, of understanding. This doesn't take grand effort. It takes intentionality. The way you hold him, the steadiness of your breath, the way your hands rest without fidgeting, the way your body language says, you don't need to do anything right now. These are all messages he receives, even without you saying a word. There's also power in eye contact before and after the hug. Sometimes it's in that brief moment, before you step in or just after you let go, that he truly feels seen. It's in the way you look at him. Like he's more than his responsibilities, more than his image, more than what the world expects of him. That look, paired with a grounded hug, can stay with him far longer than you realize. Leaving someone feeling seen is about emotional resonance. It's about reflecting back to them something they might not even know they needed. When you do this through something as simple as a hug, it doesn't just register as a kind gesture. It becomes a meaningful experience, one that doesn't just touch the body but reaches something much deeper. That's the kind of hug he remembers. Not because of what it looked like, but because of what it made him feel about himself in your presence.